Let's dive into the full narrated chapter of One Piece, chapter 1167. Ready? Then hop aboard right after the intro. Hello everyone, welcome back to the channel. We finally have the full narrated chapter. But before we begin, don't forget to drop your like, subscribe, and activate the notification bell so you don't miss anything. And without further delay, let's get into the video. The title of the chapter is Ida's Children. We start with the cover request, where we see Ginsan and Nojiko watching a cat trying to steal a book about fish, and honestly, they find it pretty cute. Page 1. The chapter opens with a narrator's text box. 33 years ago, specifically 5 years after the God Valley incident. Initial narrator text, the world after the God Valley incident. We see Morgans interviewing people about another mysterious event. A very excited man says, the sea opened up and we saw pirate ships. Another man adds, a giant figure appeared in the fog and wiped them out. Cut to Impel Down. Someone says, we heard huge explosions. Inside a cell, prisoners talk about the legends surrounding this event. One of them says, the ship was already sinking before we realized it. Then we all drowned in the sea. A man, doubting the prisoner's words, asks, there wasn't any Sea King there? The reply, no, that shadow was something else. Another reporter interviews a citizen. Did this happen in the Florian Triangle? A fisherman responds, of course not. I wouldn't hunt in a place like that. I don't even go near it. But don't doubt there's a demon shaped like a man out there. Page 2. Narrator box. At that time, a rumor began spreading. A rumor about a demon lurking in the dense sea, attacking pirates specifically. We see an image of a massive giant in the fog, ready to strike a much smaller pirate ship. The narrator continues, but in reality that demon was simply Harold. In a sea where people had never even seen giants, one of them became the embodiment of terror. Harold was helping the Marines hunt pirates to atone for the 1,000-year sin of the giants. Page 3. As for the pirates who scattered after God Valley, each of them began their journey to become pillars of the New Age. We see Kaido, Whitebeard, and Big Mom. And each of them reached their peak after 10 years or more. While the only concern of most pirates was controlling territory and gaining influence, we see Ochoku and Shiki. But there was one crew that managed to sail around the entire world, the crew of the Pirate King, Gold D. Roger. His public execution was meant to be a show of force for the Marines and the world government. But, page 4. We see Roger's execution as the narrator continues. He turned the tables, and that moment marked the beginning of the Great Pirate Era, the search for the great treasure Roger left behind, the One Piece. The advent of the Great Pirate Era caught everyone by surprise. Because of this, the Marines were forced to recruit dozens of giants from across the world, strengthening their military might. On another front, after Harold began working for the Marines and the world government, we see Pangaea Castle. We hear the Tenryubito speaking, wow, he's enormous. He's one of the ancient giants. Another says, I want one of those as a slave. Narrator, Harold was finally allowed to visit the Holy Land officially. We see Harold in a meeting with the Gorosei. He asks, what do you mean Alliance of the Sea's surface? Page 5, St. Topman Warcurie says, yes, the title of Godblade. From now on, you will serve as a personal assistant to the Holy Knights. We see Harold with a tattoo on his arm saying, this is an honor. An honor. The Gorosei explain, there are 3 levels, or 3 knots. The first knot is known as the simple knot, or the surface. Then comes the knot of the deep sea, and the abyss is the 3rd knot. Only 13 people have access to the 2 main levels, and they are directly connected to the true ruler. Harold asks, what do you mean, true ruler? Nishiro answers, well, if you become a holy knight, you'll learn about this world more deeply. Harold, excited, so, Elbaf will join the world government? Page 6. Saturn says, of course, Harold, then we will declare to the entire world that we welcome your union with us. Harold, thrilled, thank you. I'll do whatever it takes to make this happen. Scene change, Land of the Rulers, Temple of the Knights, Shangara. Leader of the Holy Knights, Garling, Figurland family. Harold is presenting himself to the Holy Knights. Garling, now slightly older, says, what is His Majesty thinking? Summers comments, will the king of Elbaf really obey us? Harold, introducing himself, says, of course, just give me the order. Shamrock is also there. Then Garling says, take this long-range Den Den Mushi. We'll call you whenever we need you. You may return to the underworld, but do not utter a single word about what happened here. Harold answers, all right. Page 7. Another time skip. 20 years ago on Fishman Island, the Ryugu Kingdom, we see two people laughing loudly together. It's Harold and Neptune drinking side by side. Harold says, I have not laughed like this in a long time, Neptune. Neptune answers, me neither, my friend. We are both overwhelmed with worries. It becomes clear they are talking about Loki. Then Neptune continues, I do not think your son is mischievous by nature. Did you forget how you were when you were a child? Harold replies, do not even remind me of that. Neptune says, actually a fortune teller predicted that I will be blessed with a daughter in 4 years. What do you think about arranging her marriage with Loki? Page 8. Harold laughs. Baraha. That is impossible, Neptune insists. Do not think she will be just a normal mermaid. We might not even be able to control her powers. Harold raises his drink. Then let us toast to my rebellious son and your furry daughter. Barahaha. Note, the word for furry is written the same way as Moza. We then see an image of Otohime holding her children in her arms. Page 9. The scene changes. Narration box. In the same year at the Owl Library in Elbaf, Saul is speaking with Harold. Harold says, of course, Saul. You are welcome to live here however you wish. Saul thanks him. Harold continues, there is something I want your opinion on. What do you think about collaborating with the wise men of Elbaf? Harold adds, I want to open a school here in this place. Saul smiles. A school? That is a wonderful idea. Page 10. Another time skip. 15 years ago. The narrator says, 15 years ago, an incident occurred in the holy land of Mary Geoise. A celestial dragon screams, my slave escaped. Damn it. Someone broke the cells open. We see Fisher Tiger saying, hurry and run. Do you want to stay here as slaves for the rest of your lives? He is sprinting, but a man steps in front of him. Tiger mutters, damn, a holy night. The man is shown in silhouette, but it is clearly Shanks. Shanks charges at Tiger. He swings, but instead of attacking Tiger, he slices open the explosive collar around Tiger's neck. Shanks says, I left the explosive arsenal open for you. You will find it in. Tiger is stunned. Page 11. Explosions echo throughout Mary Geoise. Sandersonia speaks to Hancock. Come on, hurry, my sister. A man is freeing people. Hancock is crying. I am grateful to him. We can finally escape this hell. Someone yells, quick, Koala, let us escape. We see little Koala, confused and not understanding what is happening. Narration box. The incident, later named the attack on the holy island of Mary Geoise, was led by Fisher Tiger, who would later become captain of the Sun Pirates. Page 12. Harold says, like you all went through some trouble here. Summers says, it is suspected that someone on our side, we, the government, opened the arsenal for them. And we are investigating the culprit at this moment. Garling says, as soon as you find him, execute him immediately. Then Garling introduces his other son to Harold. Garling says, let me introduce him to you, Harold. His name is Shanks. Harold says, what? What do you mean? Garling says, he is Shamrock's younger brother, from whom he was separated because of certain circumstances. It seems he has returned after experiencing the bitterness of living in the underworld. If he obtains a deep-sea contract, he will most likely become, immediately, a force capable of rivaling Shamrock. For now, he is a Godblade just like you. Harold says, I know I said the same thing when I met Shamrock for the first time, but I feel like I've already seen you somewhere. Your face looks familiar. Shanks, with his left eye bandaged, says, I do not know and I do not care. You are just a giant commoner. So do not speak to me so casually. The blood of the Figurlins runs through my veins. So there is no doubt that I will become a knight before you. Harold gets embarrassed and says, sorry, I think I confused you with someone. Shanks and Shamrock walk. Shanks says, come on, Shamrock. Teach me more about the Holy Land. I want the honor of capturing the person who caused the incident. Have you found any evidence? Shamrock says, there is no need to rush. You can do that after you recover from your injury, Shanks. Shanks says, "You will never understand my feelings after I wasted 24 years of my life for nothing. No wonder I always felt different from everyone around me." Intro box. Godblade, Figurland family, Saint Shanks. Intro box, Holy Knight, Figurland family, Saint Shamrock. Shanks finishes saying, "That was a detestable life, every single part of it." While they walk and Tenryubito women swoon over the brothers, Harold becomes suspicious. Page 13. Narrator box. In the same year, in the fisherman's village of Elbaf, someone says, "There is nothing I can do with my medical knowledge. It is too limited." Another person says, "We should call Harold and tell him to bring a skilled doctor and an effective medicine." Another one says, "Do not do that. He is busy with his duty." Someone else says, "Did we not strengthen our relationship with the government for situations like this?" We see Ida sick in bed among other giants. Ida says, "An illness like this will heal on its own." Tiny text outside the bubble, panting. The giant says, "But your condition worsens day by day." Ida, "Harold will be furious if you do not recover." Ida says, "Go and open the bar for me, Mato." Mato says, "I do not want to go while you're sick." The giant says, "Recently, whenever Harold comes back, he goes from house to house visiting the village elders. So they will allow him to consider you a legitimate wife." Ida says, "That fool. I love that bar. It is where I make friends and welcome sailors from countries I have never even heard of." Pages 14 and 15. Ida says, "I feel that even if just a little, I helped Harold in his journey." Then Loki arrives shouting, "Hey, you old foreigner." Mato gets angry. Loki, sitting on a bull, says, "Mato, give this meat to the old lady to eat. That bar is my place to relax. I want you to recover soon, old lady, so you can open it again." The giant says, "Oh gods, that mischievous brat grew up and still hasn't changed at all. You are the only one who managed to tame him. And Hadruddin has gone out to sea with his companions to search for a doctor for you. You are loved by everyone, just as your 2 sons love you." We see the new giant pirates sailing. Ida says, "You are exaggerating, but hearing that makes me really happy." Final pages. 16 and 17 narrator box. Wine village in Elbaf, hometown of Loki's mother. Loki says, "Repeat what you just said." We see an old man talking to Loki. The old man says, "I was saying, we will definitely not allow that foreigner to become a legitimate wife. Do you not agree, Loki?" We are the Estrilda legitimate wife clan. We will not give up our wealth and status for her. So we gave her this poison. It is extracted from the ergot fungus, and no one can cure it. Her fate is an imminent death. Meanwhile, the giants beg Ida to let them call Harold. She says, "Loki, he is rude to me, but I care deeply for him. I did not give birth to him, but I consider him my son. To me, there is no difference between him and Hadruddin." While she says this, Loki burns the village in pure fury. He says, "She is not going to die poisoned, right?" He remembers Ida's kind words. "I have no doubts that you are a lonely person, Loki, but you can come here whenever you want." Loki grabs the old man and yells, "Did you all forget that my sea of blood hated me? That they threw me away to die? What fortune are you talking about? What useless noble clan do you think you are? Answer me. Tell me Ida is not going to die, because she is the only mother I ever had in this life." Final text. These are his true feelings finally revealed. End of the chapter and no break next week. If you enjoyed this full narrated chapter, don't forget to drop your like, subscribe to the channel, and ring the bell. The official release is coming this next Sunday. See you next time, and thanks for watching.